There are creatures in this world that defy everything we think we know about nature, animals that seem to sense death before it happens, species that vanish, then reappear, decades later, as if time forgot them, and instincts so precise they make modern GPS look like guesswork. These aren't urban legends or tall tales told around campfires. These are real documented mysteries that biologists and researchers still can't explain. How do they do it? Where do they go? And perhaps the most unsettling question of all, what else is still out there, hiding in plain sight? From psychic pets and mass animal disappearances to creatures thought extinct that keep coming back. Today, we're diving deep into the strangest, most chilling animal mysteries on Earth. So sit back, relax, grab a snack, and let's journey into the wild places where science meets the unexplained. Chapter 1: The Immortal Jellyfish. There's a creature drifting silently in the dark oceans of our planet. So small, most people will never notice it, but inside its fragile, translucent body hides one of the greatest biological mysteries science has ever encountered. Its name is Turritopsis dohrnii, but it's better known as the immortal jellyfish. At first glance, it looks like any ordinary jellyfish, barely larger than your pinky nail. It has no brain, no heart, and no complex organs, just a gelatinous bell and a few delicate tentacles floating with the current. But when this tiny animal gets sick, injured, or even dies, it doesn't decay. It begins to transform. Instead of breaking down like every other living creature, the immortal jellyfish reverts its own cells. It turns itself back into a polyp, the earliest stage of its life cycle, essentially starting over from scratch. Think about that. This jellyfish can cheat death, not once, but potentially forever. It's the only known animal that can biologically rewind time. Scientists have tried to figure out how this is even possible. Some believe it's a process called transdifferentiation, where one type of cell transforms into another. It's a mechanism seen in starfish, salamanders, and a few other animals. But nothing at this scale. The immortal jellyfish doesn't just regenerate a limb, it resets its entire body. Researchers have cultured them in labs. They've watched them die and come back. Some jellyfish have repeated this process dozens of times and show no signs of aging. So the question is, if a brainless jellyfish can reset its life indefinitely, what does that mean for us? Could this be the key to understanding aging or even reversing it? Biotech companies are already exploring jellyfish genes for potential anti-aging breakthroughs, but there's still so much we don't know. Why does it trigger this process only under stress? What are the limits, if any? And is there something even more extraordinary happening beneath the surface? For now, Turritopsis dohrnii keeps drifting, unseen by most, outliving storms, predators, and the passage of time. It may be the closest thing Earth has to a real-life time traveler. Not a machine, not a myth, just a tiny jellyfish, quietly rewriting the rules of life itself. Chapter 2: The Earthquake Instinct. There are stories that show up again and again across time, across continents, and across cultures. Just before an earthquake hits, animals start acting strange. Dogs bark uncontrollably. Cats hide in places they've never hidden before. Elephants stampede toward higher ground. Birds take flight all at once, abandoning trees in complete silence. And it's not just minutes before the quake. Sometimes it's hours, sometimes days. In 1975, in the Chinese city of Haicheng, thousands of snakes emerged from hibernation in the dead of winter, something that had never been observed before. Soon after, the city was rocked by a massive earthquake.
The government took the animal behavior seriously. They evacuated over 100,000 people. That quake still struck, but many lives were saved. So, how did the snakes know? How do animals sense an earthquake that hasn't happened yet? That's the mystery. Some scientists think it's all about vibration. Animals may be more sensitive to seismic activity than we are. They might detect micro tremors that go completely unnoticed by humans. Others suggest animals can hear ultra-low frequency sounds, called infrasound, emitted by tectonic plates shifting underground. There's even a theory that animals might detect changes in the Earth's magnetic field before a quake. But there's no consensus, no definitive study, and for every documented case, there are others that go unexplained. Sometimes animals react, sometimes they don't. Sometimes an entire ecosystem seems to go still, just before everything falls apart. And here's where it gets even stranger. Some researchers have found that toads abandon their ponds 2 to 3 days before an earthquake. Not just a few. The entire population disappears. Why would animals that are so attuned to water flee it? And how would they even know where to go? The deeper you dig, the more the mystery grows. Are these instincts evolved over millions of years? Or is there something about the earth, something we haven't discovered yet, that they're picking up on? Maybe it's not that animals have a sixth sense. Maybe it's that we lost ours. Chapter 3, Mass Animal Deaths and Disappearances. It starts with the silence. Then the reports begin to come in. Thousands of birds, dead, scattered across city streets. Fish, by the tens of thousands, washed up along riverbanks and shorelines. Even entire herds of livestock found lifeless, with no clear signs of disease or trauma. Mass animal deaths, unexplained, sudden, and deeply unsettling. One of the most famous cases occurred in 2011. In Beebe, Arkansas, over 5,000 red-winged
Blackbirds fell from the sky just before midnight on New Year's Eve. No warning, no weather event, they simply dropped, mid-flight. Authorities searched for answers. Some blamed fireworks. Others pointed to weather patterns, toxins, even government testing. But no explanation fully accounted for the scale or the timing. Just days later, in Louisiana, hundreds of dead birds were found again. Then thousands of fish surfaced dead in nearby waterways. The events continued, popping up in different parts of the world, one after another. India, Sweden, Brazil, Italy, all with eerily similar patterns. In most cases, no definitive cause was ever found. These aren't isolated incidents. They happen year after year across species and continents. Bees disappearing by the millions, known as colony collapse disorder. Entire populations of frogs wiped out seemingly overnight. Mass dolphin strandings that defy logic. So, what's happening? Is it climate change? Pollution? Diseases we haven't identified yet, or something deeper, something environmental, even atmospheric that we don't yet understand. The most unsettling part is that the animals seem to know just before it happens. They behave erratically, they flee, they panic, and then nothing, just silence, and the haunting image of a world where nature is trying to send a message, but no one knows how to read it. Chapter 4: The Psychic Pets Phenomenon. It's a story told by thousands of pet owners around the world. You're driving home at a totally random time. You didn't follow a routine. You didn't send a message. But somehow, your dog is already waiting at the front door, tail wagging, eyes locked on the entrance, as if they knew. And it's not just dogs. Cats have been known to disappear from their homes only to show up at hospitals just before their owners pass away. Some travel miles to do it. There are even verified cases where no one, no family member, no friend, told the cat where their human had gone. How did they know? It's called the psychic pet phenomenon, and while it might sound like fantasy, the data says otherwise. British biologist Rupert Sheldrake conducted over 1,000 case studies of pets who seemed to know things they couldn't possibly know. Dogs that waited by the window minutes before their owners arrived at completely random times. Cats that reacted to phone calls before they rang. Parrots that spoke a specific word only when a certain person was about to enter the room. In controlled studies, some pets were even filmed reacting before their owners began heading home. Not when the car pulled up, not when a signal was given, but the exact moment the human made the decision to return. So, what's going on here? Some scientists say it's just routine. Animals learn our patterns, even subtle ones we don't realize we're giving off. Others think it's smell, faint pheromones or environmental cues, or hearing, ultra low frequencies we can't detect. But these explanations fall short when the timing is completely unpredictable. That's where more controversial ideas come in. Some researchers believe animals may be tuned into a form of non local awareness, a type of perception that doesn't rely on the five senses. A biological connection we once had but no longer use. It's not telepathy, it's not magic, it might just be instinct on a level we don't fully understand. For now, the mystery remains unsolved. But if you've ever felt like your pet knew what you were feeling or sensed something before you did, you're not imagining it. Science just hasn't caught up yet. Chapter 5: Cryptid creatures? Are they real? There are creatures described in ancient texts, whispered in rural towns, and spotted in fleeting, blurry footage. Animals that aren't supposed to exist, yet refuse to disappear. They're called cryptids. And while most scientists write them off as myths, folklore, or misidentifications, some cryptids have turned out to be very real. Take the okapi, for example. To Western scientists, it was once just a rumor, an African forest giraffe that looked like a zebra in the back and a deer in the front. Locals had spoken about it for generations, but no one believed them until 1901, when the animal was officially discovered in the Congo, or the coelacanth, a massive prehistoric fish believed to have gone extinct with the dinosaurs. It showed up alive in 1938, pulled out of the ocean by a stunned fisherman. So when someone claims they've seen something strange, something that shouldn't exist, should we be so quick to dismiss it? Let's look at a few of the world's most persistent cryptid mysteries. There's the chupacabra, first reported in Puerto Rico in the 1990s. People claimed a creature was draining the blood of livestock, leaving behind clean puncture wounds and no signs of a struggle. Witnesses described it as reptilian, kangaroo-like, with glowing red eyes. Skeptics blame coyotes with mange, but the descriptions don't quite line up. Then there's the Mongolian death worm, said to live beneath the sands of the Gobi Desert. Locals believe it can kill from a distance, spitting venom or discharging electricity. No physical specimen has ever been caught, but the accounts remain disturbingly consistent, even among people who've never met. And in the UK, reports of black panthers, large wild cats roaming the countryside, have persisted for decades. Experts say there's no evidence, yet farmers keep finding paw prints, and trail cams occasionally pick up something big, something that shouldn't be there. So, what do we do with these stories? Are they hoaxes, misidentified animals, or could some of these sightings point to undiscovered species hiding in plain sight? History has already proven one thing. Just because science hasn't found it doesn't mean it isn't real. Sometimes nature hides its secrets where we least expect them, and the line between myth and biology might be much thinner than we think. Chapter 6: The Saola, Asia's Ghost Antelope.
Deep in the dense, mist-covered mountains of Vietnam and Laos, there exists a creature so elusive, so rare, that it was only discovered in 1992. It's known as the Saola, or the Asian unicorn, but despite its mythical name, this is no creature of legend. The Saola is a real animal, an antelope-like mammal, with striking white markings and two long, sharp horns that curl upward like the spiraling horns of a ram. But what makes this animal so fascinating isn't just its appearance, it's the fact that we barely know anything about it. Since its discovery, the Saola has only been spotted a handful of times, and never in the wild for long enough to study. No one's ever captured one alive. No one's ever seen it in its natural habitat. It lives in the Annamite Mountains, one of the most difficult to reach regions on Earth. Dense forests, steep cliffs, and near impenetrable terrain have kept the Saola hidden from human eyes for centuries. The first and only Saola ever photographed in the wild was a fleeting glimpse in 1993, captured by a camera trap. Since then, its population has remained a mystery. Some believe there are fewer than 100 left, making the Saola one of the rarest mammals on Earth. In fact, it's considered so elusive that some conservationists fear it may already be functionally extinct, even though it's never been formally declared extinct. But why is this animal so difficult to find? Is it its environment, so remote that human presence is all but impossible? Or is there something even stranger at play? Could the Saola have adapted to avoid detection on purpose, developing behaviors that allow it to evade our technology and observation? Even more curious is the question of its diet and behavior. What does it eat? How does it reproduce? These basic questions remain unanswered. Scientists have only begun to scratch the surface of the Saola's biology, and some speculate it may be hiding out of sheer instinct, a ghost in the forest, evading the eyes of humanity. Could it be that this animal, once thought to be a fable, has survived in secret for thousands of years? Or is it simply another mystery we may never solve? For now, the Saola remains a legend in the truest sense, a symbol of the wilderness that refuses to be tamed, a creature too elusive for even modern science to fully comprehend.
What else is out there? We've journeyed across oceans into the deepest forests and through the annals of time to uncover some of the world's most mind-boggling mysteries. But the truth is, we've only scratched the surface. There's so much we still don't understand about the natural world. Species that defy logic, phenomena that challenge the boundaries of science, and mysteries that refuse to be solved. Who knows what else is out there, waiting to be discovered? What strange creatures lurk in the remote corners of our planet? What ancient civilizations have left their mark only to be swallowed by time? And what unexplainable events are unfolding right now beyond our understanding? The answers might be closer than we think, hidden in the places we least expect. The world is full of secrets, waiting for the curious to find them. So, the next time you look up at the sky or take a walk through the wilderness, remember, the mysteries of our planet aren't just the stuff of legends, they're real and they're out there, waiting to be uncovered. Stay curious and keep exploring. Thanks for watching.